Hello, everybody. Anybody? Especially those on replay. When you start a live broadcast, it always takes a bit of time to populate, if indeed it populates at all. Nice cup of coffee. It's August the 17th, believe it or not. It's not been the sunniest August yet. There we are. It's not been the rainiest either. So I've come on to do a little follow-up to my Going Through the Gate series, which was a bite-sized series. I did a few broadcasts a little while ago. Castezo had been allowed, he's a fairly hot horse, he'd been allowed to go bombing through gate. So basically, as soon as you leant forward, opened the gate, he was going forward, and reasonable amount of danger of catching your chaps on the locking mechanism or bumping your knee or such like. And I thought it was a grand opportunity to just chat a bit about bite sizes. A lot of my courses about bite sizes. Oh, hello, Joanne. Hello, Jacqueline. So yeah, a lot of my courses about bite sizes, how you can take any problem and break it down into little bite sizes that are of a copable stand, and that's all we do. I don't know if you've seen our show, but it's quite a spectacular show, and it was simply built on bite sizes. So small. If you've been to the Rider Confidence course, you know how small our bite sizes are. I mean, they're ridiculous. You're doing exercises and you're like, this is hardly putting on your brave pants. And that's our point. We don't put on our brave pants. We're trained. Not brave, we're trained in tiny little bite sizes. So anyway, this horse had got an anxiety about leaping through gates. Excuse me. And I've seen that loads as well. I've seen it loads. There's been plenty of times that I've actually seen people going through gates, and you wince as these horses crash through. And I don't need that. I need a little bit of manners. So I approached this gate. You can see the video on this feed. I approached this gate with this horse, and he was, we took it very slowly, but he was still a little bit hot. And I opened the gate, and we just stood there for 30 seconds. And then, leaving the gate open, I just backed up, turned around, and went off, just to break that pattern with the horse that what we're going to do is carry on and leap straight through the gate. I'm sure you know what I mean. And then we went round to the gate from the other side. The gate was already open, and we just stood there. Didn't go through it, just stood there, and then came back. I've got a great little tool that I use, which is my short, fat, purple-headed, bald American director who jumps up and down and gets very angry. He's totally imaginary, but he comes to me. If I had a scene to do where they wanted me to open the gate, look out over the horizon, and then turn around and walk away, that could be feasible in the film. I need a horse that can do it. So I've always got that in mind. I should have the choice to do that or not. So we stood there. We reversed through the gate sometimes. And sometimes we went through the gate. You never could tell. Sometimes we went through the gate, stopped, reversed, back through the gate, turned around and went. But basically, I train the horse that you can't anticipate what I'm going to do. It was over a period of about 9 or 10 days, and that 9 or 10, that wasn't consecutive. I wasn't particularly disciplined about getting it done, but that took place over a couple of 3 weeks. And I was just going out the other day, and we've got a little gate just at the top. And I went up, leant forward, and you know that when you lean forward, you kind of like slacken the reins, and you're not particularly, your heels go back a little bit. It's not particularly helpful to the horse. So anyway, I made a pretty deliberate poor job of hanging on to his mane and yanking this gate around and opening this gate. And he stood there, and I thought, yeah, that's good. And we stood there, and then we went through, carried on with our ride. And I suddenly I was bursting with pride for this horse. It was like 3 weeks ago that horse couldn't hardly approach a gate without snorting and prancing and jumping about and crashing into things and moving backwards the second that you leant forwards to get the gate and all that. So yeah, I was pretty proud of that. In fact, maybe I should make a video of it just to close off that little series about how small we do our bite sizes. But then there's a part of me says, who wants to watch me going, oh, I think that good horse I've got? You as the viewers wouldn't learn anything. So maybe I won't. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. See what mood I'm in. My point that I'm getting to today is that I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed that whole process of bringing this hot horse back from the point of having an issue. In fact, he was having an issue. And now I've got a horse that is absolutely tip-top with gates. If you were to invite me to go on the Pennine Way for 6 days or anything, I've got a horse that I would quite happily take. 3 weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have a horse that I'd have happily taken because it would have caused an issue. My point is that the joy of horses doesn't come at the end when I'm on the Pennine Way or doing some mad adventure. The joy is in those microscopic improvements. It's almost a joy in my own bloody mindedness that I'm going to get through this and I'm going to train. I just really enjoy it. I'm brought to mind of another case. Lumi the stallion, he always tends to go tearing off as soon as you release him in the field in the mornings. And sometimes if you've got bridle on or a chiffney on, which is sometimes necessary, then he stands the risk of ripping into his jaw. So this must not happen. And it's not just that, because he's also very clever. I don't think he'd rip into his jaw, but he could. But it's also, if my little fat, bald-headed, purple-headed American director was to say to me, right, we're doing a film, and I want you to go in there with your stallion, open the gate, walk in, turn him towards you, release the head collar or bridle or chiffney, have a little moment where you're communicating, and then it's like you say to the horse, okay, you can go now, and it runs free. Now, I could easily see that being the script of a scene, absolutely easily. So there's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't get that together, why I shouldn't be able to get that together. And I bet you can guess how I did it as well. Well, we went in, made it clear that he knew that I had a bit of carrot, turned him round. I put the lead rope around his neck and just gave him a couple of bangs on the neck just as I slipped the collar, because it's partly the head collar coming over his ears and down his nose and that sudden release that's his cue to run. But if at the same time I was just banging with a little bit of rope on his neck, so I've still got you, I've still got you, I've still got you. And then I'd got him and it gave me an opportunity to get his bit of carrot. And it didn't take very long before he was waiting for his bit of carrot, of course. I would say it took about 6 times, about 6 days. And then I had a horse that previously was going ape every time you release the head collar, frightening our grooms. And then just with a little bit of training for the horse and a little bit of training for the grooms, we came up with a plan. And now we've got a perfectly behaved stallion that everybody, if they saw it, I'd go, wow, what a good stallion. But my point is, back to the point of today's video, enjoy the journey. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that when you had a horse that went absolutely rah as soon as you released it. And now has a little moment with you and then runs off. It's just great, isn't it? I find too many people view the training as work, training for themselves, training for their own fear responses, training to get their own panic and nerves under control, as well as physical training of the horse, schooling it, as physical training for themselves, learning new skills. I see too many people seeing that as the work, as the thing they've got to get over. And then the joy will lie on the other side when they're galloping on the beach or whatever it is they want to do. And the answer is enjoy the journey. And whatever you're doing with your horse, there's no reason not to enjoy the journey, or for that matter with yourself. You're getting over any kind of nervousness with anything. I'm minded of one of my clients for the 3-month online course, the Ultimate Rider Confidence course, and there was a fear of bridges. And it's like find the joy, enjoy the journey in getting over your fear of bridges. And of course, to somebody with a fear, it may seem totally impossible that you can get over a fear of bridges because it's a bridge, there's nothing good. But if one person can find joy in bridges, then you can find joy in bridges. Or spiders, or anything that you're doing, or the transition to canter. So where's the joy in bridges? Well, I was then driving home from London. I know I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. I was then driving home from London. It was a lovely sunset, and this dad and his kid, they were in silhouette. They were looking out over the bridges of the lorries going underneath, and some of the lorries were going poop poop, and the kid was wetting itself in excitement. I've no idea if it was a boy or a girl because it was in silhouette. Absolutely wetting itself, running around in circles, coming back, waving at the lorries. The lorry would go poop poop, and then it would run around. I just looked at it and I thought, there's the joy in bridges. And if you can accept that one person can get joy in bridges, or the canter, or gallop, or anything, or having a lesson, or being judged, or if you can accept that it's possible to find that joy in the journey, which it is, then the second step is to accept that it's possible for you. And the third bit is to realize that to get to that possibility and make that a reality, you just need to break things down into tiny bite sizes and have the discipline to persist at it. And the discipline doesn't have to be that dark word discipline. It can be the fun discipline, because at the end of the day, you can really enjoy that process. There we are. That's what I came to say, and I hope it's been of use. If it has been of use, of course, share this post. Might be of use to other people too. Just going to have a quick look at the comments before I go. I'm going to have to look down. Very rude. Very rude. There you are. Not looking at the audience. Don't turn your back on the audience. Lovely. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for coming and joining us. Hello. Oh, Matt. Hello. Tamzin, Susie. Thank you very much for joining us. Nicola. Oh, good point, Nicola. Okay, we'll talk about dogs. I'll have a little read of that, and yeah, we have got a whole thing about dogs. Juju, possibly that's pronounced. Hello, Bexy Joe. Thank you very much. Hi, Chris. Thank you very much for joining us. Any comments that you want to put, especially you people watching on replay? Any comments? Any questions? Stick them into the comments section, and we'll see if we can get them answered in the future. Thanks for listening.